They don't talk about it out loud, but the moment a Sigma male enters a room, everyone feels it. The alphas get quieter, the betas get defensive, and the ones faking confidence, they start to sweat. You know why? Because a Sigma doesn't play the social game. He breaks it just by existing. He's not loud, he's not boastful, and he doesn't need your validation. But the moment he walks away from a conversation, everyone's left wondering, did he see through me? Today we're diving into the 5 terrifying reasons why Sigma males are secretly feared in every social circle they enter. If you've ever felt like the room shifts when you arrive, this one's going to feel personal. Oh, and by the way, I've got something very special for you. Sigma's Black Book of Untouchable Power. It's an ebook that contains the forbidden secret knowledge that will turn you into the man others fear and respect. Warning, this will be deleted soon. The elite don't want you to see this. Grab it in the description section or pinned comment below. Let's begin. 1. He can't be controlled, so they label him a threat. Let's get one thing straight. People don't fear the Sigma because he's loud. They fear him because they can't figure out how to control him. In every social group, whether it's the corporate office, the friend group, the gym, or even a romantic circle, there's an invisible game happening, a hierarchy, a status war. People play roles, they compromise, conform, adapt. But then he walks in. He doesn't laugh when it's expected. He doesn't flatter the loudest voice in the room. He doesn't compete, but somehow he still dominates. The Sigma is unpredictable, and that's terrifying to people who survive on predictability. You can't bribe him with approval. You can't guilt him into people-pleasing. You can't intimidate him with your title, your fame, or your following. He's self-governed, and that makes him dangerous. People hate what they can't manipulate. So when they realize he's immune to their pressure, they start to label him aloof, arrogant, too intense, antisocial. But behind every label is fear. Because the truth is, when a man doesn't need your validation, he becomes immune to your tactics. The Sigma doesn't disrespect the group. He just doesn't depend on it. That level of self-sufficiency, that's what scares people. 2. He sees through every power play and doesn't engage. Most people don't talk. They posture. In every circle, you'll find that one guy who constantly name drops. The one woman who measures her worth by who she knows. The passive aggressives, the micro-competitors, the fake support disguised as backhanded compliments. But none of that works on the Sigma. He doesn't just hear words, he listens to motives. And the moment he senses a power play, a manipulation attempt, or a social chess move, he disengages. No drama, no fight, just silence. That unnerves people. They want a reaction. They want him to defend, explain, argue, because that gives them power. But when he gives them nothing, that's when panic sets in. You see, the Sigma doesn't confront the game. He invalidates it by refusing to play. That refusal isn't passive, it's powerful. Because when you remove yourself from manipulation, you strip it of its power. And people fear what they can't provoke. The Sigma makes other people uncomfortable with how calm he stays while everyone else is desperate to be seen. He doesn't shout, he watches. And that quiet observation, it makes people sweat. 3. He makes the popular people feel replaceable. You know the type. The ones who rely on attention to breathe. They thrive in social circles because they believe they're the center of it all. The alpha of the group, the queen bee, the charming loudmouth, the one who tells the same joke 10 times because they know it gets a laugh. Then comes the Sigma, quiet, unknown, zero reputation, yet somehow every eye starts drifting toward him. He doesn't interrupt, he doesn't perform, but his presence makes people sit straighter, rethink their story, check themselves before speaking, and suddenly, the room doesn't orbit the alpha anymore. That subtle shift, that's why people fear the Sigma. He's a mirror that shows others what they're not. And for people who are used to being the center of attention, his presence exposes the truth. You were never impressive. People were just bored. The Sigma doesn't fight for attention. He attracts it. And in doing so, he reveals how replaceable the popular people really are. That kind of silent disruption threatens every insecure ego in the room, because he doesn't need a stage to take up space. He just needs to exist. 4. He doesn't care about group morality, only personal code. Most social circles operate on shared approval. What's cool? What's acceptable? What's okay to laugh at? What the group expects you to think. But Sigma males don't play by those rules. He has his own code. And if your group violates it, he walks. He'll walk from a job if it compromises his values. He'll walk out of a friend group if it tolerates disrespect. He'll walk away from a woman if she disrespects his peace. And that terrifies people. Why? Because most people sacrifice their standards to be accepted. The Sigma sacrifices acceptance to protect his standards. You can't bribe him with clout. You can't guilt him into silence. You can't pressure him into laughing at what he doesn't find funny. He's the guy who says, "Nah, I'm good," when the group pressures him into something. And suddenly, the whole vibe changes. Because when one man refuses to compromise, everyone else feels exposed for doing it. That's why they fear him. He doesn't just remind them what a man looks like. He reminds them of what they've become. 5. He leaves without explanation, and people can't handle it. This is the part no one wants to admit. Sigma males don't announce their exit. They don't throw tantrums. They don't drop cryptic hints. They just go. You'll notice it days later. He's not replying in the group chat. He's missing from the event. He unfollowed you without comment. No drama, no goodbye, just distance. And that, more than anything, destroys people. Because everyone's used to closure, to people begging to stay liked, to men explaining themselves, hoping for a second chance. The Sigma male gives you no such comfort. If he feels disrespected, drained, or misaligned with your circle, he detaches, coldly, cleanly, with surgical precision, and you'll never get a why. Because here's the truth. If you needed a warning, you weren't paying attention. He leaves to protect his energy, not to punish you, not to make a statement, but the silence becomes the statement. It's not just the loss that stings, it's the fact that he walked away like you were never essential. And for egos that thrive on relevance, that's unbearable. That's why they fear the Sigma. Not because he attacks, but because he doesn't explain, because he doesn't return, because he was never yours to control. You want to know the real reason they fear you? Because deep down, they wish they could move like you. Detached, unbothered, self-defined. They crave the freedom you walk with, the clarity in your boundaries, the way you never flinch under pressure, because your soul's already been through worse. They fear you because you remind them of everything they're not and everything they're afraid to become. So don't apologize for it. Don't shrink. Don't explain your silence to people who only understand noise. You were never meant to fit in. You were born to disrupt. If this hit like truth, drop the word unbothered in the comments. Let them know you're not here to impress. You're here to remember who you are. And if you're the kind of man who doesn't flinch when people gossip, favors, or flail, then go ahead and subscribe. This isn't a channel. It's a quiet army. And around here, the lone wolves run together. See you in the next one. Stay dangerous.